I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life.
What's on your mind, JB? What keeps you up at night?
Oh man, so many things. Not to get political. Actually, I'm not going to get political.
No.
You know what?
I mean, you can if you want.
Right now.
That's okay that you're
Sleep.
tired. You know what though? I was talking to you about your first
keeps me up at night.
Your first show. So for those of you who don't know, JB has spent the last decade, probably a little bit more, 12. We'll call it 12 years, just because I'm going to make that number up. 12 years as a sound technician working for live bands. A lot of country bands. JB's worked for a few country bands. For those of you who like country music, I'm sure you would recognize a few of them, but I'm not going to say them. Now he has transitioned into the video world. So now JB is doing some video for a quite famous, very, very large, if not, I mean, definitely top 10 country stars in the game. So JB, you just finished your first show. Was it just? Have you only done one? Is that it? Just one?
Yeah, just one. We did.
Okay.
We did a few weeks of rehearsals, and then this was show number un.
So I know because I know you better than everyone. You obviously you dig sound, you dig audio. You taught me how to edit audio, and for any of you who enjoy this podcast, JB does some of the editing. I do a lot of the editing, but any editing I do is shit that I learned from JB because he taught me. So if you enjoy it, then you can send all your thank yous to JB because he's the one who's responsible for all of it. That being said, but I know that video is something that has interested you. I mean, for any of you who have seen any of my videos, any of my YouTube channels stuff, any of JB's, I mean, JB's responsible for both of those because JB's the one who inspired me to buy a fucking camera, or not even buy a camera, but asked for a camera for my birthday, and he's the one who taught me how to edit video and audio as well. And so you've always been interested in video and editing video and all that stuff. So this is your first gig kind of transitioning from audio to video. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's interesting because, you do something for, a number of years and you get to a certain level in your career. And I was getting kind of burnt out. You do things, you do it repetitive, or whatever. So I was like, you know what? The band I was working for, we've covered all this in previous episodes. They didn't work as much. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I need to kind of change things up. So rather than... And I got offers from other bands to do what I was doing, and I was like,
you did, and I'm
go do.
I would say I'm
completely different.
I'm a mid-level country fan, so I know. Like when someone was telling me, "Oh, I'm gonna go see Kane Brown," I'm like, "Who the fuck is Kane Brown?" I don't know. And this was like probably 6 months ago. Now, obviously, I know who Kane Brown is, but I mean, I don't like. It's like if you had played me one of his songs. Sure, hell yeah, I'd have recognized it, but I don't pay too much attention. But yeah, JB got offers from people that I absolutely know who they are, and I dig them.
It was one of those things where like, okay, well, I appreciate it, but I'm going to move on. And I had an offer from a video company because I had a buddy that works there who used to be our lighting director, and he's like, come check it out. It was a good kind of corporate culture, and yeah. So I did, and what the weird thing is that I'm starting over, and having to sort of swallow my pride and not be at the level that I was doing what I was doing.
But dude, honestly, from like an outside perspective, as your friend, you sound much less stressed and much happier than you ever did, even when you owned your shit as a sound technician. Or whatever the hell your job title was. Yeah. And I think part of that is, don't get me wrong, dude. I love some of the artists. And the last band that you worked with, like, they're good people. They're really good people.
Yeah, for sure.
But you still, your job as, so those of you who don't know, I'm going to explain this and then JB's going to correct me because I'm going to do it wrong for sure. You have a front of house sound person and a back of house?
Monitor engineer.
Monitor engineer. So front of house does they are responsible for all the levels of the sound that you hear as a fan in the crowd. The monitor engineer is responsible for taking care of the levels of the sound that the actual artist hears in their ear, because they're hearing that themselves back in their ear, so they know everything that's going on. Now, you were a monitor engineer, so you're responsible for the levels that the artist wants, and so you're catering to the artist. And And even the best of artists who are great people, and I have nothing bad to say about them, can be, I don't want to say prima donnas, but I mean, they have their, they have their own kind of catered custom needs when it comes to sound. So you are all kind of always trying to tailor it to what they, what they want, because that's your job. But now you're just kind of catering to the video that the director wants, that the director's trying to get for the fans.
Yeah,
correct?
there's a level of separation between me and the artist, which is welcomed in this aspect of my this season of my career. It's kind of like a little breath of fresh air.
Although I'll be honest, the artist that you are currently working for, he's probably one of the coolest people ever. And
yeah, no, it's totally.
He probably
cool.
would be one person who didn't have like weird, but maybe not. Who knows? You never know.
They all do. I mean, it's not
the
neither,
ear
neither
palette
here nor
is
there.
the ear palette is totally
long,
different,
as Steve would say.
Your last person that you were kind of leveling the levels that went into that person's ear is a super, super sweet, super nice, awesome person. I've met that person a few times, and they're amazing. But yeah, I mean, they have their own tastes, and that's, I mean, there's nothing wrong
They're
with
people just like you and me, and they have good and bad days, and yeah.
Absolutely. Well, they have their own taste. I mean, when it comes to what you want to hear in your ear that helps you sing better, I mean, that's a totally customized thing, and nobody can tell you it's right or wrong. I mean, it is what it is. I know that you mentioned on a few accounts that, you're like, well, if I do what you want, I'm probably going to make you go deaf, apparent, like at some point. But hey, if that's what you want, like, it is what it is.
Well, it's walking the fine line of giving them what they want and what they need. That's kind of where I was.
And honestly,
sitting for
what you're doing is an art, and with any art, I mean, just I've never done art as a job. My job has always been very, very quantifiable, very, very objective as far as how well I'm doing. But, living with Brett, having him rent a room for me, him being a graphic designer now, granted his job is his job and he does what he does, but he, his freelance stuff on the side, he's designing, logos for people, and they give him this kind of very, very vague idea of what they want in a logo. And then he designs the logo, and then they give him feedback, and he has to, turn that feedback into what they want. And some of the time he comes out with something that he's super happy with, but a lot of the time he comes out with something he's like, this is horrible, and they just went against everything that I want to do. But you have to, like, he has to tailor it to what they want. So sometimes he could design a logo that he thinks is absolute shit, but and he's very, I think that everyone in that kind of, or those of you like JB, like yourself and Brett are kind of good at, have gotten a little bit better at the business side of things. So you can kind of explain something to someone and suggest what your thoughts are. Well, but at the end of the day, what they want is what they want, and you have to produce what they want. And you may end up having to give them a product that you think is complete shit, but it is what it is.
A lot of times it's like, picture yourself as a chef, and you're making food for people, and the person that you're making food for says, this doesn't taste good. So that's all they know. That's all all the information they're giving you. So you've got to take that information and make it taste good.
Or even if they were more specific and said,
Brett
you know what,
making a logo, I was like, this doesn't look good. All right,
or even if they were giving you specific advice that was like, you're like, this dish already has a little bit too much salt in it. And they're like, you know what? If this were a little bit saltier, it would be great. And you're like, I think that the salt, there's definitely an undertone of salt that I think does the dish very well. And, you kind of try to spin it in a very professional, very sort of, sort of soft selling kind of way. But ultimately, if they want you to add a crap ton more salt, that in your opinion ruins the dish, that's, at the end of the day, what you have to do and what you end up doing, because they're, they hired you to design their dish or their logo or they hired you to tailor their audio levels to, their ear palette. And I keep saying that and it sounds super weird, but I can't think of a better way to say that. But
no, it's honestly very,
so
very
some of
similar.
the times you're dealing with very vague feedback that you have to actually turn into practice, or you're dealing with very specific feedback that you just know is just horribly wrong. Like, dude, if I add more salt to this dish, it's going to taste like shit. But hey, you know what? If I've tried but
they're paying you, so that's
right.
That's
and if I've tried all of these sort of like influential approaches to tell you that I think you're wrong without being a complete asshole and getting fired, then I've done what I can do. And at the end of the day, if I have to add more salt, or if I have to design it, if I have to stray from what I think is best for you to design the logo that you want, then I mean, that's what I have to do, because that's what I'm getting paid to do.
Well, and you're trying to put forth the right environment so that they can be the best versions of themselves on stage. So instead of being a personal chef, you kind of have to be a personal chef and a personal trainer.
Absolutely.
So you got to give them just enough of what they want and just enough of what they need, which is this whole conversation we've been talking about. But it can get dicey. Which, I mean, it's just like that in any job, really, though. You have a boss that answers to a boss, and
right.
Yeah. It is what it is.
That is
needless to say, my current position
world,
is
and that's why one of my favorite quotes, and I don't know who said it, and I'm going to misquote it completely, but hey, that is where we are at Project Reclamation. So whoever said this quote, and whatever it is, I apologize for getting it wrong, and I give you credit for this, because it's certainly not something I came up with, but it goes something along the lines of, figure out your dreams and put them into practice, otherwise someone will hire you to make theirs happen.
Yeah,
there's a better way to say that. Maybe it's like, figure out your dreams,
quote.
Figure out your dreams and find a way to make them happen. Otherwise, someone will hire you to make theirs happen. And I'm totally, I'm probably too much Buffalo Trace into this episode to get that right. But
no, you're good.
The spirit of the quote is correct. And speaking of quotes, there's a couple of quotes I'd like to. You know what? We haven't done quotes of the week in a while. And even though this is a fucking garbage bullshit extra episode.
I don't think it's as garbage as we intended it to be. I think this actually turned out pretty decent.
Are you kidding me? Everything is. We put out gold, man. And I'm not even trying to be narcissistic. What I'm saying is, I think that we resonate, and when we talk, we're just real. We're being genuine. I mean, this is us being genuine, and I'm not trying to be narcissistic about this, but those of you who are also genuine,
don't justify it. It's good stuff.
No, I mean, this is just us being real, and I wish I had people in my life that were more real, and that's. I mean, I'll be honest, that's one of the reasons, and they're not even trying to be motivational, but that's one of the reasons I love the Sofa King podcast, because I feel like those guys are real. They don't have researchers. They don't have employees. It's just three dudes who have good chemistry, who are good friends, talking.
They spit out what's in their heads, whatever information soaked in, and
yeah.
If it's a little bit, it's a little bit. If it's a lot,
and they're entertaining. One thing I would like to do is give another shout out. I have to say, man, I love our listeners, and I love having listeners. I love watching my listener. I don't even know who you are, most of you, but I see the list, which is literally just numbers to me. So
it's a steady climb, though, man.
It's all binary, but watching that list grow every week and every month and every day it's fantastic, and it makes me so happy because we're just being us, and like we're not making any money off this. We're not doing, we're doing this because essentially Steve came into this and saw me making some changes to my life, which inspired JB to make some changes to his life. Steve, I don't think at the time realized that he needed to make some changes too, but this has awesomely and ultimately made us all make some serious changes to our lives, and it's improved us. So just talking to you guys, all of you listeners, has severely improved my life and JB's life and Steve's life, and hopefully we have done the same for you, because that's what we're trying to do. And I mean, from the feedback we've gotten, I think we're doing a pretty good job, and that's all we want, is to keep doing that. And all we ask of you is tell a couple of friends to listen to the podcast if you like it, because that's what we're trying to do, is reach out to as many people as possible.
Yeah, because if you tell friends and they tell friends and then they get back to us about how we can improve and ideas that they want us to talk about, then
absolutely
it only gets better, and we provide you with more value.
We've done quite a lot of research on, like, once we, when we were thinking about releasing this, when we started recording, when we were trying to figure out how to release, when we were trying to figure out how to host, like, we did a lot of research, and JB and I listened to a lot of, like, we scoured the offerings of the motivational podcast category, and we're kind of in a weird state, because like we're motivational, but we're not that. I mean, we're motivational, but we're also, I think we're pretty entertaining too, and some of our episodes are just purely entertaining, and I think that's by design. Thanks to Brett. I mean, that whole cheat episode thing was his idea, and we've kind of strayed away from the whole like cheat episode as a category, but we still have it. It's just that now I stopped calling them cheat episodes, and I started just kind of figuring out what the things are that we talk about. So this episode, for instance, will be called, in fact, you'll know what it's called because it's going to be called this when you listen to it, but I don't know what it's called right now, but I will when I publish it. So, hey, it's cool. So yeah, so I think that is a niche that's just not filled. There's a lot of people that are giving you motivation from a place of professionalism, or a place of elitism. Like and don't get me wrong, I love Tony Robbins. I love Eric Thomas. I love a lot of these motivational speakers, but they're coming from a place where I made it. I did this. I'm fucking awesome. And here's some tips how to be more like me, how to make it like me.
Or they're on the top of the hill pulling you up. We're like
or we could be
right next to you or below you, pushing you from the other side.
Or a different approach to kind of the same milieu or the same sort of soup or broth or chili recipe would be like a Joe Rogan or a Tim Ferriss, where it's like, hey, like I don't have all the answers, but I'm gonna recruit and bring onto my show all of the most successful, best people and try to pull out of them the best answers, the best advice that they have. And that's super powerful. And don't get me wrong, we will absolutely probably do a little bit of that on this podcast at some point in time when we're able to get calls back from these sorts of people. However, it's different. But I don't think that I found any podcasts that were regular people trying to do things to make their lives better, and at the same time trying to influence and motivate you to join them. I mean, this is going to sound stupid, but it kind of reminds me of that scene from Forrest Gump when he just decides to start running, and he runs across the country, and he's like, dude, like he's fucking Forrest Gump. Like he's like,
well, and I was going to bring up David Goggins, like we've talked about before.
Well, sure, okay. Well, so mine is stupid, but
Indiana,
Forrest Gump, this guy who just he's whatever he was, but he just starts running, and just by him doing it, like he's not super influential. He says stupid shit, but people just see him doing it, and people who don't even like, they just leave their house and they're like, fuck it, I'm gonna run. And by a certain point, he had hundreds of people just following him just because, when I was JB, when we were at Disneyland recently, for that whole, when we were trying to film Shannon's proposal, there was that one instance where we were in line to go on the haunted house. Maybe I shouldn't even be saying this, but who cares? We were in line to go on the haunted house. We literally were in line for probably 45 minutes, an hour. We get to almost the end of the line, and they shut us down. And I don't know how I lost you, but somehow I was with my dad. You ended up with my mom. You guys went one way, and I was literally walking, and there was like my dad was following me as far as I was concerned at that point in time. So I saw an opportunity, Disney. and I have my video camera on the whole time, right? So I see an opportunity, and I see there's this sign that says, exit one way to the left, and there's another sign that says exit, and it has an arrow pointing right. So I'm like, well, everyone else is going left, but I see two options. I'm going to go right. So I go right, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen at this point in time. So I end up in there's a door. So I go through the door, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm backstage Disney. I am literally where nobody's supposed to go. And I look back, and my dad is behind me, and like 14 strangers are behind me, and they're all following me. So we're walking, like I have no idea how to get back. Like that door locks when we after we go through it. So I'm just like, fuck, what are we gonna do? So like we're watching through backstage Disney, I'm filming it, and honestly it wasn't that interesting. It was kind of boring. But we're walking through, and I'm like, there's like 20 people following me at this point. I'm like, hey, if you guys are following me because you think I know where I'm going, I want to apologize right now because I honestly have no fucking clue. Like, I just wanted to go somewhere where I probably wasn't supposed to be, but I saw the opportunity to do it, and I actually had a reason to do it. But we ended up, there's some dude in a suit and like an earpiece walked up. He's like, hey, I'm gonna need you to erase all those pictures you just took backstage. I was like, oh yeah, no problem, dude. Put it back in my backpack, and it didn't take any pictures, so I didn't really lie because all I'd taken was video, and I kept it. So anyways, for those of you from Disney who are listening, if I get a call and a lawsuit from this, then that means Disney's listening to our podcast, and that is
Disney
awesome.
owns us now.
That's cool, dude. Hey,
because we said the word Disney on the podcast.
If they own us, JB, they either have to kill us or they have to pay us. So I'm willing to take that gamble.
Hopefully, pay us.
Well,
that would be awesome.
I don't really want to die.
No, I don't want to die either.
So
and on that note,
I don't know where I was going with this whole story, but I guess what I'm saying is, you know what, guys, when you see an opportunity, just fucking take it.
No,
go Nike that shit.
You were coming to a good point in that sometimes you just need to take that road that you don't necessarily know what's going to happen, and
Absolutely.
Because you do that, people will follow you. I think you're describing the people following you at Disney as our listeners.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
Going on a journey with us.
And I don't know that I deserve
unmarked ground.
And I don't know that I'm qualified to have followers. I don't feel that I'm qualified, but I think that makes me qualified.
But we know that.
But we know that, and we tell you that. So for those of you who follow us, thank you so much. Like, from the bottom of my fucking heart, like, it means so much to me, and I know JB feels the same way, and I know Steve feels the same way.
Brother Nero, man.
because we are doing something that we think is the right thing. And I know we don't really preach religion on this, and I don't have to right now, but what I will say is believe in God or the universe or energy or Mother Earth or Allah or whatever
just
it is.
Believe in something.
If you have faith in anything, and maybe it's your family, it doesn't even matter what it is. All I can say is one thing I have done differently in the last, well, there's a lot of things I've done differently, but one thing that I've really noticed is just being open to things. And I wish I could be more detailed about what I'm trying to say, but call it God or the universe, but just being open to seeing signs, and don't turn yourself off to this right now, because like I said, I'm not preaching about God, because I'm very open about the whole faith thing and God thing. I think faith is extremely important. Beyond that, I don't really see, you don't have to fit into a certain, square peg or whatever, circle hole, whatever it is, because it could be so many different things, but faith is important. It could be faith in so many different things, like even your family or energy or magnetism or whatever, magnetic poles, something that is scientific. If you're a scientist, all I'm saying is having faith in a higher power. I think it's imperative. But the bottom line is being open to those things, because that's what I've been lately. And JB and I call each other every day with just hey dude, it was so weird, man. I was paying attention. That's all it is paying attention. And I saw this random billboard that said reclaim your life, and I couldn't help but think dude, that's a sign. Or if we had just recorded an episode about forgiveness, I would literally see something in a publication or on a billboard or on a sign or on a building that had something to do with forgiveness. And maybe I'm stretching it, but you know what though? It's working for me.
And check it out, dude.
Because it tells me I'm on the right path, and the listeners growing, and just the signs from God or the universe or fucking, Bilbo Baggins or whoever the fuck is giving me signs. It's telling me I'm doing the right thing. And I'm getting the same message from different sides, from all the different angles. And I guess what I'm saying is, I don't necessarily think I'm qualified to have followers, but I appreciate the hell out of you guys for following us. And we are doing what we think is right, and we're doing what we want to do to make our lives better. And I just happen to think that you guys, all of you guys are a lot like us in some way, shape, or form, if not multiple ways, shapes, and forms. And you know what? Join us. Tell your friends to join us, and let's build a fucking movement, because we're trying to do something that is positive and making our lives better. But in making our lives better, we're going to make the world better. And it's going to be a little bit at a time. It's going to be one millimeter at a time, 1 inch at a time, 1 second at a time, 1 hour at a time. But that's all that matters, because if everyone on earth was doing that, that would be a huge impact. And I know that I listen to myself, and I get the biggest kick out of how much of an asshole I sound like while I'm preaching positivity. And I don't know why I think that's so funny, but
you don't sound like an asshole.
Well, I don't have that Tony Robbins tone, some of the times
that's a good thing.
No, because it's real, dude. This is me. And that's what I'm saying. I am me. And that's all I'm going to give you guys is me. And the stuff that, we talk about editing and we make jokes about it. All I edit out is pauses and awkward pauses and weird filler words that JB and I use. JB says, too much, and I say, too much. But honestly, the stuff you guys hear is all just legitimate, real shit that we're saying. And everything about it is real. I don't even use noise reduction. I don't use any sort of editing tool. Occasionally I reduce some of my plosives, which is when you say the P word and it pop, that's a plosive. So I'll fix that a little bit. But ultimately what you guys hear is just the real legitimate JB, Tim, and Steve. With a little bit of Brett, a little bit of Shannon. There's Paige and Jax when they're being assholes or being sweet, which obviously I love them, but it is what it is. So that's us, guys.
And I wanted to leave you because you brought this point up, and I think you were onto something when you said that you talk about something and then you start seeing it. Like when I was shopping for a Subaru car, I started seeing Subarus everywhere, and I was like, oh, I noticed it. When you put your mind on something, if you focus on negativity, you'll start seeing negativity. If you focus on something positive and something caring and something loving for somebody else and giving and that feeling, you'll start seeing that.
Absolutely,
so,
man.
Whatever you put your mind on, and I'm not going to try and get in cliched terms like, whatever. If you truly care about a thought and an idea, you'll start to notice it, and that will snowball into something much, much better and more easier for you to follow that path. So
I totally agree.
It's really hard to get rid of the negativity. I get that.
Well,
but
try
if you start focusing on something, it'll put itself forth in front of you.
But try this, because this is what I tried. And JB got a few phone calls from me with crazy things that he actually agreed with. I didn't even try to look for the things I wanted to see. I literally took a very neutral, very unbiased approach to this. And I was open. And I'll be honest, I was born and raised Catholic. Now I consider myself, I still go to Catholic church every once in a while. I consider myself Christian. So yeah, sure. When I talk to the universe, I'll talk to God, but I'm not saying you need to, because I'm not trying to recruit anybody to anything. You could talk to the universe. You could talk to Gaia, Mother Earth, Allah, Buddha, Shiva,
Kabbalah monster,
Ganesh, the Bala monster, Cookie Monster, Count Dracula, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. Faith is faith, and I think faith is important. You could talk to your dead grandpa or your living grandpa. It doesn't matter. Faith is faith. You could talk to your family. You could just simply be sending out vibes to your living family and asking them for something. And that could be your version of praying. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to push you towards anything. But what I will say is this. When JB and I and Steve first started this podcast, this had something to do with my surgery. I made, my mom is super religious. I made a deal with my mom. I said, look, Mom, I'm going to ask whoever to help make this happen before the end of the year. And if that happens, then I owe a debt to said higher power. So that happened, and it was a long shot. I mean, it was a 1 in 100 chance, and it happened. And so I had to make good on my deal. So I had to go back to church. So that was my thing, whatever. So I'm going back to church with, I called JB. I'm like, hey, dude, I got to go back to church. I know you go to church, but I haven't been in a long time. So I'm just going to go with a very open mind, and I'm just going to listen and see what I hear. I'm just going to look and see what I see. I was going with a very, very open mind without any sort of expectations. And one of the second or third time I went back to church, and I feel like I shouldn't be talking about church, but fuck it, who cares? The first time, so I was like, okay, so I woke up, I go to take a shower. I have a shower speaker, so I throw on, I open up my podcast app, and the first thing up is Tim Ferriss, and it's not even an interview, because he does almost, I'd say 99% of his episodes are interviews with people, but it's not even an interview, it's literally an episode. And I had just asked JB this question the day before, and his episode is how to get more listeners to your podcast. So I'm like, well, this is kind of weird, but I didn't think much of it. So I listened to that while I took a shower and got ready. Cool. So I head to church, and JB and I had just been talking about, even though it took us this was weeks later that we actually recorded the episode, we had just been talking about the topic of forgiveness at length and in depth. And that was literally a day or two before this happened. So that this Sunday I go, and of course the sermon that the pastor is talking about is all about forgiveness. And some of it was religious, but most of it wasn't. I mean, a lot of it was almost the exact same shit JB and I have been talking about. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. So I'm talking to God, and I'm like, hey, dude, all right. And talking to him in a different way than most people talk to him, sure. But I'm like, hey, dude, I get it. That's 2. You give me a third one, and I fuck it, I give up. I get it. So then at the end of church, they're talking about, there's some retreat that I didn't go to and I wasn't interested in going to. But they're talking about the retreat and very being open. I'm listening. I'm paying attention. And the theme of the retreat is reclaim your life. And at that point, I was like, all right, dude, I get it.
Bingo.
God, Allah, dude with the white
my
beard,
battleship.
Father Time, Jesus, Allah, fucking Ganesh, Shiva, magnetism, gravity, Mars, whatever the fuck it is that you believe in is a higher power. That higher power was speaking to me and basically slapping me in the face with here's the third sign, idiot. Way to have zero faith and make me show you a third sign when the first 2 were pretty fucking obvious. So I was open. And again, I'm not saying hand your life over to God. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm not trying to tell you to join some religion. What I'm telling you is be open to the signs. And those signs may be from the universe. They may be from living relatives, dead relatives. They may be from people. Just be open to observe things. And this goes back to some of our other episodes.
Well,
just
and try things too. You never know if you're against it if you don't try it. Well,
and just people in general. I mean, observe every interaction with a little bit more of an observation than a how does this affect me kind of an attitude, and it changes things. Because they're all linked. I mean, that whole when I'm preaching to you guys about when someone cuts you off in traffic or when someone is a bitch or an asshole to you in the office, that may have nothing to do with you. That all comes from my sort of observational, more open approach to life and every interaction I have, and just being open to the world, being open to everything. you'll see things that you never saw when you were closed off, looking for the negativity to confirm your position that you hate Trump or you hated Obama or life is miserable or whatever it may be. Just fucking drop all that shit. Look at signs. Start doing good things. If you're angry about something, use that to motivate you. Go help somebody in your sphere of influence. Go, like I said, bake a casserole. Bring it to a fucking homeless shelter. Do something to benefit your sphere of influence. JB will do the same. I will do the same. Steve will do the same. Shannon will do the same. Brett will do the same. And guess what? There's a handful of circles that are all influence for the positive. And if we can spread that to a few more, if each of us can spread that, then we'll make the world a better place. And it's really not actually that lofty of a goal.
Well,
it's crazy.
To add to that, like, you know, a lot of people look backwards. They look in the past. Equate that to driving on the freeway. You got to look forward to see the signs.
So true.
You can't see the signs if you're facing behind you.
Absolutely. And pay more attention to the signs of which exits are coming up than you do to the signs that say that so-and-so is 340 miles away.
Yeah.
Because guess what? 340 miles is a shitload of miles. That's a long ways away. That's hours away. But the signs that a lot of us pay attention to, those are years away or decades away. You know, oh, well, this country is going to shit. Oh, Trump is ruining the country. Oh, Obama's ruining the country. Oh, this. Oh, that. Oh, I don't even know. None of those matter. Go listen to the Serenity episode. I know maybe you guys all don't want to do what I've done and just take a fully anti-news, anti-current affairs, anti-political approach to life. But I have done that. And yeah, sure, I've missed a few things. But guess what? It's given me so much time,
yeah, but
so much energy,
you've been able to focus on
so much
your
passion
problems.
to focus on my problems that the worst it has been is that that volcano erupted in Hawaii and I didn't know about it until 2 hours after it happened. Nah, not that big of a deal. Because what could I do to influence that? Nothing. I can't stop a volcano. But I guess what I'm saying is spend your time and energy. You don't have to shut everything off like I have, although I would recommend it if you're open to it. And just focus on the things around you. And you know what? If you have a passion for politics, focus on local politics. You know what? Stop figuring out who you are undyingly devoted to and maybe go run for something local yourself. And who knows where that'll take you. The thing with signs is signs are they're off ramps in that freeway of life to a road that you may have not known existed. And that may be the road that you're meant to be on. And I'm not even saying everything's meant to be this, that, I fully fucking believe in free will, but that may be a road that you didn't even consider going on, where maybe if you go on that road, you have an influence on something in the world that you didn't even realize you could have. So yeah, pay attention to the signs and pay attention to the exits. And maybe you need to get off 5 miles before your actual exit because this is a better one. And that's a better one for you.
Well, and you want to take the scenic route.
Fuck yeah, dude.
You know, why not?
There is no rush. I've always, when I was in college, and when I talked after college, when I talk to people in college, I say, you know what? Take 5 years. Do your thing. I mean, college is half about the education. It's half about the experience. If you were really to drill down, I would say it's probably more experience than education. But I've always said one quote that I'm going to quote myself, and then I'm going to quote JB because JB, what are you? Hey. Oh, my God.
You're going to quote Jax because he's got some pretty good stuff to say, too.
Hey, anger issues. So one of these things in college that I've always said to people who are in college is you have the rest of your life to live the rest of your life. Because let's be honest, after college, it's the rest of your life. Like you're entering into a very long stretch, a very long inning, and you have the rest of your life. Why are you in a hurry to get out of college? Experience everything you experience. And this goes for more things than just college, but you have the rest of your life to live the rest of your life. That's my favorite quote of mine that I can quote that I actually don't know that I'm sure someone else said it, but as far as I know, I said it first. So that being said, I have a quote that I was listening to a podcast of ours from probably a week ago, and JB said a quote that I fucking love, and I'm gonna try and make a little poster out of it or a meme. I don't really know what a meme is, but I think I'm gonna make one. I'll have to ask Brett. He knows what a meme is. So JB said something to the tune of, "Character is forged in the fires of failure," and that's powerful and amazing and awesome, and I love it. So think about that, because you're going to fail. If you're going to have a giant, and the bigger the success that you're trying to get in life, the bigger the failures are going to be along the way. So welcome them, embrace them, learn from them, and just know that you have to learn from that. You have to take from that, because that is the fire that's going to forge the molten awesomeness that's going to temper your metal to make the strongest sword you can make, to fight towards making the biggest and best success that you're going to achieve. Because that's it, guys.
Because you want to kill the orcs, man.
You have to kill
the orcs. Need to die.
Thanks, JB. So, yeah, I mean, just think of it like every failure, every hiccup, every misstep is just an opportunity to if you're open and observational about what's going on around you, it's an opportunity to increase and better and improve your approach. Whatever that approach is, if you're quite literally making a sword, it's an opportunity to improve I don't even know how to make a sword, but Brett said that there's a sweet blacksmithing class. So JB, I'm gonna have to take that blacksmithing class. I'll let you know.
Lap welding.
Sure. I don't know. I just want to.
That's how you make the strongest sword. Is you lap weld. You fold it over like 100 times.
1,500 times. Is that how they make the katanas?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. You just keep.
Why is Steve not here? I am surprised we came up with such great topics today. Just good content, man.
Yeah, man.
Like our brains are just firing on full capacity. And shout out to you, Sienna and Coleman, because I feel like you guys are on the same level of us, and I'm missing a ton of people. We'll call it Drew, Brian, Shannon,
keep
Nick.
Listening, keep
listening, guys, and give us more feedback.
Ideas.
We want feedback. But here's my final advice to you. My final thought, and JB is about to give his. My final thought is just, you know what? Take a step back. Every interaction, everything. Take a step back. Remove your emotions, just a hair. And look at everything from a more observational standpoint. And beyond that, look for all the signs. I don't care what or who it is you believe in, but hand over a little bit of faith to that higher power that you believe in. And it could be as simple as fucking gravity or energy. Doesn't matter. But hand over a little bit of faith and just be open to the signs. Look for the signs, and then, you know what? If you see an off-ramp that looks interesting, take it, check it out, see what's up. It might be the right off-ramp. You never know. And you know what? If it's not, you can get right back on the freeway and take another one. That's life, guys. And this is coming from a guy, I'm learning as I go, and I'm sharing with you every fucking thought I have. This is a very stream of conscious type teaching. Learning, teaching. Sure, why not? We are ultimately stream conscious. I mean, not even half the time. I would say probably 80% of the time, we are literally figuring this shit out that ends up coming through as advice as we just talk to each other. Because talking to someone beside yourself is extremely powerful. You may get answers from them, but you'll get answers from yourself that you would never get without that other party, second party, third party, to bounce your thoughts off of. And that's why I say there is no shame in talking to friends, talking to family, talking to therapists, talking to psychiatrists, psychologists. Whatever you have to do to figure shit out, figure it out. And then be open to signs. And you know what? You are good enough. You are awesome. And you can do whatever the fuck you want to do in life. Just take the bull by the horns and do it. And we got your back.
I want to add to the, you were saying you're having faith. Have some faith in yourself.
Absolutely.
Slow it down. We're so, taught to go. Life is short, which it is. But it's also, you can get to the point where you go, and you don't actually live your life. You're just in search of something. Whereas if you have faith in yourself and you know that you appreciate yourself in a way that you know that you will find the right way, and you're not blowing past your expectations, just have some faith in yourself. Have some faith that your conscience and you will find exactly what you need, and you will.
Absolutely. And you know what? Have faith. I would say, and I was looking at, we talked about Gary Vaynerchuk a few times, and I'm not trying to veer off into the Gary Vaynerchuk world, but I was listening to a bunch of his episodes, and he has he posts a bunch of 3-minute episodes, 5-minute episodes. So I was going through a bunch of his episodes, and he has one that's called Audit Your Circle. And I thought that was extremely interesting because it's extremely true. And he was talking about taking the one negative influence in your life, which may be a family member, maybe a friend, it may be whoever, and you're not going to delete that person from your life because that's not even realistic. Let's be honest. However, you could delete them from your regular conversation life. And he was talking about the power of taking one negative person or unproductive person and getting that person out of your main circle of influence And that just means people you talk to every day, essentially. People who you would bounce ideas off of. And replacing them with someone more positive and more productive and better for, honestly, for your well-being. And there's a lot of power in that. So I would say, and I'm not saying to do any of that because that'll be a separate episode, but your current circle of influence, the people who you do trust, and so for me, it'd be like JB and Steve, and probably Brett and Shannon and my parents and a few other people. But for those people who you've already decided are good influences in your life, who give you good advice and good decisions, have faith in them too, because you know what? They give you a different perspective. And sometimes we can't see the forest through the trees. And I've said multiple times how it's fucking stupid, but but it's true that I've been able to use this podcast as a way to listen to shit that I've said to you guys as advice to you, and use that and listen back to it when I'm not smart enough or I don't even know what it is, but I'm not aware enough to give myself that same advice, because we're all like that. Yeah, I think we all have the tendency to be very objective and very, very acutely aware of other people's problems and how to fix them, but not to our own. And it's interesting. But that being said, I have been able to do that. So I guess what I'm saying is have faith in the people around you that you actually trust, that you've audited, that you've vetted, that you think have your best interests in mind, and trust them to give you good advice. And if something may be outside the box of your thinking, but you think, what, this could work, then fucking give it a try. Because what do you have to lose? I mean, if it doesn't involve something illegal or something immoral, what do you really have to lose? We're all trying to get better. So get better and use all the tools at your disposal. Use your friends, use yourself, use us, use the hell out of us, because that's what we're here for. We are literally Jax is, he's singing my praises, right? Jax is barking. I don't even know what he's barking at, but use us. We are willing to try any program, do any sort of test, take any challenge. We're willing to do whatever to help you guys out. I mean, I don't know what else we could do that's more powerful. Like we have your best interest at heart, and we are here to not sacrifice ourselves, but we're here to do whatever it takes to make you guys believe that we're here for you. And so whatever it is you guys want us to do, we will do it if it's in the name of productivity, positivity, and motivation. So have faith in yourself. Have faith in your circle, your tiny little circle, however that tiny that may be. That's okay. If you're past the age of 15 and you have a small circle, there's nothing wrong with that. And just try to have faith in us. Like, I may not know you, JB may not know you, but I promise you, JB and I would do whatever we could to help you out. If you're like, hey, try this crazy, stupid diet that may kill you. Probably down. Yeah, Steve might be down. JB, yeah, probably down. Sure, why not? So yeah, just have a little faith, because you cannot do everything you want to and deserve to do in this world, in this life, by yourself. You could probably do a version of it, but you'll do a better version of it if you have a little bit of faith in a higher power, in your friends, in yourself, and in us. And that's what we're here for. We're literally putting ourselves out there to do whatever it is we can do to help you be a better human being. And there's something to that. And I'm not trying to say we're awesome, because we're not. We're just three regular dudes. We're douchebags. We're idiots. We are what we are. But hey, we're here to make things better for ourselves and try to do whatever we can to make things better for you. So use that. If there is anything you can use that for to benefit you, do it. And we will be happy to do that. So that is what I'm leaving you guys with today. JB, final thought.
Yeah. I think I gave mine earlier.
Well, then we're good. Well, then JB, can I have your tagline, please?
Yes. Character. Oh, wait, that's my quote.
No, your tagline is just be good.
Be good.
All right, guys. Hey, have a great week or day or 5 minutes or however long it is till you listen to the next episode of Project Reclamation. Reach out to us at projectxreclamation.com and give us your show topic ideas. Give us your criticism, constructive criticism, or unconstructive criticism. I don't care. We can take it. JB and I are, we're thick. We're thick skinned.
Big boys.
We're good. Yeah, we're big boys. We can take it. We love you guys. We love you all. And JB, I love you. And I love Steve and Jax and Paige and Brett.
Love
and
you too,
Brett.
brother.
Brett's giving me a dirty look. Hey, I said your name before you gave me the dirty look, so fuck you. And I love you. Anyways, y'all have a great night, great week, great day. And this is Project Reclamation. So, hey, if you're bored, reach out to us, projectxreclamation@gmail.com. Talk to you soon.
Peace.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.